So welcome back to the next class of Pride and Prejudice. In my earlier presentation, I have already described the short biography of Jane Austen. Now, this one is designed to describe the art of characterization or the uh, styles, what are the elements which are important you need to know before going through the novel Pride and Prejudice. So, here again, I'm Arindam Bagh, Department of English, Maharaja Nandakumar Mahavidyalaya. So, starting the next slide. I hope that everyone is staying inside your home and you're doing fine. So, in the art of characterization, what you got here, Austen's characters is rather narrow, and Sir Walter Scott, who was a novelist actually, he described the range of her characters accurately. Jane Austen confines herself chiefly to the middling classes of society, and those which are sketched with most originality and precision belong to a class rather below that standard. So basically the characters you will find in the novel Pride and Prejudice, most of them belongs to the middle class, and she sketched their character very precisely and belong to a class rather below that standard. So it is a comment made by Sir Walter Scott. So this will give us the idea that what kind of um, characters she created or she used in her novel. So, what you got here? Omits the servants and the laborers. Yes, you will find this strange in Jane Austen's novel. If you watch the movie version of Pride and Prejudice, which is Kyra Knightley in it, you will find that servants and laborers, they are not intervening, or they are not commenting on any of the events. They are completely ignored. You will see those characters in the background. Obviously, it's a movie version, you can see, but you will not find those characters are actively intervening with the major characters. But in case of Thomas Hardy, you will find these characters are intervening to the main plot, and they have a very significant presence. You know, they appear wherever they are needed, but they are usually not heard. Yes, this is very common. They appear, obviously, they are present, but nobody hears them. Aristocracy also is hardly touched, and if taken, it is only to satirize. Now, see this one. This point is actually directly mentioning about the attitude of Elizabeth. She is the heroine of this novel. You can see aristocracy is also touched, but with a note of satire is there. Lady Catherine, yes, is arrogant. She belongs to the um, rich economic class, aristocrat class, and pretentious, stupid, and vulgar. In spite of such a limited range, Austen never repeats her characters. Yes, obviously, she had a limited range, but she didn't repeat the characters. You will not find those characters are actually like a copycat with the earlier aristocrat characters. So she presented a limited range, but she never repeated her characters. Now, um, next in the next slide, you have usually presents the characters dramatically through their conversations, action actions and letters. Yes, these are the things which you will find that characters are presented, or characters are designed in this way. You will get the inner emotion of those characters through conversations, through actions and letters. Yes, obviously, I mentioned about in the previous slide, there are reference, so many letters were written in the novel. You know, so many letters were written. Sometimes it is also said that Pride and Prejudice is an epistolary novel. You will find with the net um, many letters, which actually reveals the important aspects or the important plot, or it reveals a character properly. You know, she used this technique. Darcy and Wickham, Lydia and Caroline are much revealed through their actions. Yes, the so action. You know, there is a famous saying that action speaks louder than words. Now, in this case, also Darcy, Wickham, Lydia, Caroline, their characters were revealed by their actions. Collins and Lydia are revealed through their letters. What kind of character Collins is and Lydia is, they're revealed through their letters. Characters are revealed through comparisons. Yep, comparisons were often found. Lady Catherine and Mrs. Bennet, they are balancing each others in their vulgarity and matchmaking drills. Here, both of them were concerned about their daughter. Lady Catherine was concerned about her daughter's future, and Mrs. Bennet is always running, always looking for a perfect husband for her daughters. So they were balanced, properly. Lady Catherine belongs to aristocrat family, and Mrs. Bennet belongs to the middle class family. She is the mother of Elizabeth. Then, sorry, sorry. Wickham serves to contrast to Darcy, while Bingley is to foil to him. Yep, the character of Wickham, actually Wickham is a villain. I supplied the short notes on Wickham. You will find that Wickham is considered to be a villain there. And Darcy, which who appears to be a very snobbish character, is a very who appears to be a very arrogant and a difficult character. But later on, we find that Darcy is a fine gentleman, and Wickham, who appears to be a very sober gentleman, later we find that he has a very vicious tendency. He has a very complicated mind, and he is an opportunist. And the word gentleman doesn't apply to Wickham, so he was like a contrast to Darcy. While Bingley is a foil to him. Bingley, the character of Bingley, is like a, if we consider from that point, I should not compare these characters with somebody else. But when foil, the word foil comes to my mind, then immediately the character of Macbeth and Banquo. Banquo is like a foil to Macbeth. Banquo is that character which Macbeth was supposed to be. Banquo was that character which Macbeth supposed to be, but he didn't. So here also Bingley is a foil to Darcy, and Elizabeth is compared and contrasted with Jane and Caroline Bingley. Yeah, the character of uh, Elizabeth, we can compare the character with Jane Bennet and Caroline Bingley. So she was like a contrast. So in the next part, you will find that these characters are also highly individualized, yet they have a touch of universality. You will find this character. The pretty interesting thing about Pride and Prejudice is that if you go through these characters, you will find in your life also these characters are very common. Even people's around, like you will find, oh, he's like Wickham is like opportunist. You will find characters like Collins, who are like, who is ambitious, who has some sort of wealth, who has a patron. And you will find character like Mrs. Bennet also is always looking for a good match for their daughter. So these characters are, universal. You will it is not that the way, if you read Pride and Prejudice, or most of the characters, they are universal characters. They're not like that Mrs. Bennet is unique, this is one and only character you will find there. No, you will find these types of character everywhere in your life also. Wickham represents, I mentioned about Wickham while describing this point. Wickham represents all pleasant looking but selfish and unprincipled flirts. Yep, you will find lot of young boys and gentlemen. They have a tendency to flirt with the girls. They would like to take some opportunity whenever they find comfortable with. So Wickham represents all those pleasant looking but selfish and unprincipled characters. A character which doesn't have any principle, but they looks very, they are very handsome in their appearance. They are considered to be very fair and attractive, but you will find they don't have any principle. When it comes to morality, they don't have any. So next is a great realist in character in art. The way she presented the characters, we can consider him a great realist. And the characters are creatures of flesh and blood and pulsating with vitality. While reading or going through these characters, you don't, um, we realize these characters are very real and they are like a living character, it's flesh and blood, pulsating, really, really pulsating. Just a minute, close the door please, and mute the TV please. Please ignore the disturbance. My daughter suddenly entered in the room. So the next point is studies characters kindly but objectively. Yep, definitely. A novelist need to be like her. Uh, she studies her characters very closely but objectively. It is necessary. Otherwise, characters will be same. There should be a difference. All the characters should be individual. So you can see that she studies her characters very well and objectively. Next, which we have appearance of characters. She treats them quite generally, fixing them with a few bold strokes. Yep. Some of the characters are very bold in their approach, and she treats them quite generally. And constant in providing details about their outlook, attitude, manner, and accomplishments. Yes, you will find this in Pride and Prejudice. The characters which is provided, which is been there, the details, the outlook, attitude, manner, accomplishments, all the things are there. You will find that providing details about their outlook, attitude, manner, and accomplishment. So I think the point has been repeated. Please ignore. Please forgive me for this mistake. Then we have this point: characters are neither embody of virtue nor pure villains, but real human beings, both pleasant and disgusting. Now, this is something very unique about us. We are not out and out. Uh, what should I say? Virtue. We are all opportunists. We are all selfish. During this pandemic, at the initial stage, uh, what happened? People were panicked. We are rushing to the markets or shopping complexes, and we are hoarding actually, because we were afraid that we will not get food and other supplies, groceries and other things. We did what? We hoarded. So government appealed to the citizens of India that please do not hoard. Everybody, everybody, they're looking for the resources. They were trying to hoard places. Normally, suppose you need 5 kgs of groceries, combining all the things, we buy 25 kgs, you know like that. So that shows us we are, at certain points we are also selfish. We may say that please do not hoard. Why you are buying excessive buying? Why you are doing this? Some people, they buy vegetable, you know like potatoes, buying 40 kgs of potatoes, 20 kgs of onions, 100 kgs of rice and things like that. I've seen this, even I did. Sorry to say that, but not like that. But yes, we are not embody of virtue. When crisis comes, we show our true colors, and that doesn't make us villains. Are we villains? No, we are simply scared. So in this case also, in the characters of Pride and Prejudice, when you go through this novel, you will realize these characters are not out and out villains. Rather, they are very much real human beings, both pleasant. Yeah, some of the features are very pleasant, and some of the features are very disgusting. We cannot consider people that he or she is completely perfect. Nobody is perfect. You are seeing the perfect side. That's why we may consider that character is perfect. But that perfect, apart from that perfectness, there is some ugly side of that character which is never revealed to you, even in our real life also. Suppose suppose me, if we consider, because you know the brighter side of mine, you know because I know the brighter side of you. That's why you are perfect. You never reveal the dark side, never reveal the ugly side to me. That's why if you ask me, say, if somebody asks you about my character, you will say, oh, it's a very good character, and etc., because I never reveal the ugly side, na? But in this case, in this novel, you will find both the pleasant and disgusting nature of human character. So minor figures are flat. Flat characters means they don't develop. I believe in the first year you have this topic, round character and flat character. Flat characters Who are the flat characters? Flat characters never change their attitude. They whatever they believed earlier, they continue with that belief. Their philosophy never changes, and it goes on. But round characters, they change at the beginning of the novel or at the beginning of the drama, wherever it is. You will find the character, whatever the character is thinking at the beginning, that thinking or that philosophy didn't continue till the end. It will change. It will change. Suppose if we read the novel, read the drama of written by Christopher Marlowe, Edward II, uh, we'll find that the character Mortimer, we may consider him as a round character. Even in Macbeth also, we may consider Macbeth as a round character. So, but minor figures are flat. Okay. So do not grow and are fully developed. These characters never totally grow or never develop. Such as Mrs. Bennet seems to be stupefied and vulgar right from the first scene. So the attitude of Mrs. Bennet is carried out, can be, it is carried out till the last of the novel. So major characters are ever changing, ever growing, capable of understanding growth and maturity. This is what is important over here. Major characters are changing, they're growing. Yes, their minds are changing and capable of understanding growth and maturity. Yes, like the character of Elizabeth. What do we see? At first, the attitude of Elizabeth, and the end of the novel, when we find that character again, if we pick that character again, she was completely different, complex, dynamic, and intricate. See, the example of Elizabeth is given over here. Elizabeth, blinded by ego, vanity, or overconfidence, commit gross errors and suffer bitter reverses. But by virtue of their insight, they are gradually disillusioned and thus grow. Yeah. If a character which holds a particular point of view in the beginning of the novel and it is continued till the end of the novel, then it's a flat character. But in case of Elizabeth, she is not. She changed. Her opinion changed. Okay, so now all characters created by Jane Austen may be described as round in as much as they are all three-dimensional character. I would like to mention a point which is said by E.M. Foster. All her characters are round or capable of rotundity. They have all their proper places and fill other several stations with great credit. All of them are organically related to their environment and to each other. I would like to focus on this word organically. Yes, all the characters are placed in such a way that it looks like the entire characters. They looks very essential for the plot, or to exercise the plot in a proper way, because he is telling a story now. So all the characters are very important. Like we have this organic unity in our body, all the necessary organs are placed strategically in our body, isn't it? The eyes, our eyes, what I call, yes. Okay. Hold it. Okay. Please be quiet. So all the characters created by Jane Austen, they can be described as round, and they can be considered as three-dimensional. Uh, as per E.M. Foster, it is said that all of them are organically. Please wait. Please do not make any noise. I have a call actually. Please ignore that one. Please be silent. Whoever is calling, please mute your mic. Thank you. I will come back to you. I will come back to you. Please hold. Please hold. Okay. Whoever is calling, please wait. I'm recording a video. Please hold. All her characters are round or capable of rotundity. They have all their proper places and fill other several stations with great credit. All of them are organically related. Yes, I told you, organically related. Our heads, our legs, our liver, our kidneys, all things are placed in a proper way, in a strategic way. So the characters also, they are also placed in a proper way, and we may consider this word organically related. Yes, everybody is related, everybody is necessary for each other to reveal the story properly. Now, this is the last slide we have here. So, this slide is this particular diagram is very important. It is character mapping. So you can see how characters are actually connected with each other. You will see that Elizabeth Bennet in the middle and Fitzwilliam Darcy, they are the hero and heroine of this novel. So you have this Bennett sisters, which is marked with blue links. You can see Mary Bennett, Kitty Bennett, Lydia Bennett, Jane Bennett, and they are the daughters of Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. And you can see that they are actually um, how many Bennett sisters we got here? Five Bennett sisters, starting with Jane Bennett at the bottom of Elizabeth Bennet, then Elizabeth Bennet, Mary Bennet, Kitty Bennet, and Lydia Bennet. And Lydia was married to George Wickham. Elizabeth falls in love with and later on married to Fitzwilliam Darcy. Jane Bennet is their latter married to Caroline Bingley. Sorry, not Carol Bingley. Sorry, my mistake. Charles Bingley, and Charles Bingley was a friend of Fitzwilliam Darcy. And you have the character of William Collins at the bottom. At the bottom, you will find William Collins. William Collins married to Charlotte Lucas, and then you have the character of Georgina Darcy, is actually the sister of Fitzwilliam Darcy, and you have Andy Borough. She is the daughter of Lady Catherine, and you have this Colonel Fitzwilliam. He was a friend of Fitzwilliam Darcy, and you have that villain George Wickham. He was you will see that name just right above Fitzwilliam Darcy, and you have this Mr. and Mrs. Phillips and Edward Gardiner, and Mrs. Gardiner is also there. These two characters, Edward Gardiner and Mrs. Gardiner, they played a very important role in the life of Elizabeth Bennet also. So I hope that all the characters are described over here. Please closely observe these characters, and you will find the novel very easy if you go through this character mapping. So that will be all for this presentation. Please ignore any sort of disturbance, any sort of noise if you find any in the background. I hope everything is clear to you regarding the art of characterization and the characters related to each other. So that will be all today. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel, and pass your comment if you have any in the comment section, or you can directly ask in the group, because in the first year group you can comment there. In the second year group you do not have the that option to comment, but in the first year group, WhatsApp group, you have this comment. You can comment actually in the group. Thank you all for your time.